Hey there, it's Michelle. I'm on day 7 of my storytelling video diary. Thanks for coming on back. I appreciate it. And today was going to be all about research. Well, I was going to do it, but I didn't really want to talk about it because, me saying what I found in my research today to you is probably kind of boring, unless I gave you some highlights and told a story around it. But I don't want to spoil the fun of you watching the progression of putting this story together. But I wanted to really tell you what I discovered today in my research and what jumped out at me when I decided, when I was stuck, I was going to get my rear end on my treadmill that I haven't touched in a while and move my body and see if something shakes out. And it did. I was so happy. Not very sore. I took it easy. But what I did find is the villain for season 1 of Augustus. I already kind of knew the mentor, which you always have to have someone who pushes your hero forward and guides them on a path of bigger than themselves, which we know that's standard storytelling practice. And I didn't really ever consider that I needed to have a villain, so to speak, role in the first season. But as I was doing my research and on the treadmill, I knew it became so crystal clear that the villain in season 1 is, Octavia's stepfather, Philippus. And the reason why I discovered that was when Octavius was 4 years old, his father had passed away all of a sudden, and his father was very wealthy. And as a standard practice in that time, the son or the firstborn son inherits the wealth. I can't talk, of the father. It does not go to the wife. And since Octavius was 4 years old, he was obviously in no position to manage that. And so as a consequence, since his mother was relatively young and her family was connected with Julius Caesar's family, she was quickly married off into another affluential family and someone who had kind of a similar progression in Senate service. And this was to Lucius Marcius Philippus. But what was interesting and that jumped out at me is that he was no great friend of Julius Caesar. And the other thing that I had found, a little nugget, was that Cicero had wrote in 44 BC that Octavius has plenty of sense and spirit, and how can you trust anyone at such an age? And this he's talking about after Caesar had died and he was inherited. How can anyone trust such of an age, a name, an inheritance, and an upbringing? His stepfather thinks that he, Octavius, should not be trusted at all. Oh, so that was, and just like set a firecracker off of my brain, because if Philippus, the stepfather, thinks that Octavius shouldn't be trusted and is an enemy or dislike or anything of the uncle of his wife, which is Octavius' mother, fireworks, conflict. And here I had my villain for season 1, which is going to be Philippus, and the mentor, it's got to be Julius Caesar, because he puts Octavius in the will to receive his being inheritance and to move into ruling Rome if he can. So instant conflict. I love the fact that I found my villain, and as I showed you yesterday my papers on all the events, I could see where Philippus will come and go based off of where Octavius is going to be. So I'm kind of excited. I didn't think I would be excited about finding a villain, but it gives me a place to move forward. Now I'm looking for the bookends. I know where we're starting, know where we're ending. And now the pieces are starting to thread together, as I talked about the story threads. So that was my day of research, and hopefully tomorrow is even more momentous. It is a Friday, and I am so glad that you were able to join me, and I will talk to you tomorrow.